Okay guys, now what I'm about to show you is a little demonstration of how pack racing used to work, or plate racing used to work back in the older days of NASCAR. See, now if you could look behind me on the mirror there, you can see that it is double file, maybe even triple file, all the way behind me. And then over there, they were single file going into the corner. Now they were going double wide, and there's still people going double wide right there. And look what I can do with the draft. I can go high, I can go low, and I can still gain momentum. And as I'm sharing the draft, look at that. People jump out, got no one to help them, and they got somebody to help them now. Dale Jr. is helping out somebody. I'm coming up on Sterling Marlin, and we're gonna use the bottom. And Dale comes down. He gets the momentum from us. He's gonna go down the bottom. He's gonna pass Dale Jarrett as we go into the corner. And if we stay together like this, oh, actually no, Jeff Gordon's going to jump down. See how the momentum works? And we're not getting it on the outside. We're getting it on the bottom. Okay, granted, we can make the outside work in this style of racing back then. But, I mean, we can use both, though. Like, look at how much momentum you're getting. And then you're also in the draft. And so you're just pushing up. And while you may be driving a freight train with barely any wheels to speak of, you can still use the draft and the aero package to move around and skididdle-a-boo. Now compare that with the plate racing that you're getting now.
Oh, Jimmy gonna take over. No, Jimmy! Contact! And around goes Bernard into the wall. Clear. All clear.
What the hell is up with the plate racing packages at Daytona and Talladega? Well, not really that Talladega actually, because the Talladega races last year were actually entertaining, but Daytona? What the hell? It's the second 500, not the second 500, but I mean, last year a lot of people were complaining about there was a lot of single file racing most of the race. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I could see that. And now looking at it again, I mean, you're running an entire exhibition race where you're supposed to be going all out. Just wreck the cars or just do what you want with it to try to get yourself a win before the start of the season. And you could not do that. You could not race. Alright, like literally after Paul Menard didn't lead the first lap, he got on the high line past Kyle Busch and managed to get around him to lead almost the rest of the race, and so he got wrecked by Jimmy Johnson at the end of the race. I mean, I'm inclined to agree that's probably one of the worst, if not the worst, NASCAR race I've ever seen. It's not even a points race. It's an exhibition race. An exhibition race, man. What the fuck? I really don't understand what is going through NASCAR executives' heads at this point. Because, I mean, a lot of people were kind of coming in. I mean, you had the stuff coming out about the penalty system, which is good. If someone is cheating, you know, they should have their points taken away and dropped to the last possible position in the race. You know, that's like, you had that, and you know, you're just like, well, let's see how the start of the season goes. First time in a while we've had the cars on the track. Let's see how it goes. And it's literally almost a repeat of what happened last year. I mean, the Clash last year was pretty disappointing, to say the least. Like, it was nowhere near, like, the Bud shootouts of old. I mean, the Bud shootouts were always entertaining. And I mean, you go back as far as 1999, all of the Bud shootouts have been extremely entertaining. All of the guys are going 2-3 wide. And, you know, some people even going off by themselves sometimes, managing to snag the lead away. Like, it was very interesting back then. But now, with the package that we had last year, where you could not run the bottom at all, and this was a weird thing last year, because last year, the entirety of the 2018 package, like, people could use the high line more so than they could in any other time period. And then you come to this race for the Clash, and then almost the whole race, people were stuck on the outside. And the only time people actually did try to do anything on the inside was in the final sprint to try to get as good position as they could before the rain came in and ended the race completely. Which is also another thing, is the rain screwed everything up. So, I mean, if this had gone on without rain, maybe we would have gotten something different. But then again, when you were in those red flag breaks, you had them talking about stuff like the tires warming up, and that that Martin Truex Jr. got really loose and it caused some people to go around him to get position. It's like, that's pretty interesting. Maybe if we got the tires warmed up, maybe the racing would never have changed. So it's really, really intriguing. All right, this is a 20-car field, so you don't have as much momentum to use the bottom line. But then again, the bottom line is like one of the more preferred lines in plate racing. I think it is the most preferred line in plate racing. You always go into the corners on the bottom, then you jump up to block people, jump down to block people, stay on the inside, and you would normally have the momentum to keep going because the inside line is the one that's preferred. But it's not the preferred line anymore, I guess, because this freaking package just messes with the downforce and everything. And it just makes the outside work better. And you saw the race, if you saw the race. And if you didn't, there was only like 4 cars on the bottom of the track coming to the end of the race, to the last crash. And it was, there were a couple points where people tried to jump down and get the momentum, and it would actually look like there was going to be a little bit of competitiveness coming down from the bottom lane, but then it didn't happen. Alright, because they can't hold the line. They can't hold the line with this package. And this is the same package as last year. So it's just, wow. That's pretty fucking disappointing. And then, and that end of the race, man, that was very brutal, to say the least. I'm not saying this is Jimmy Johnson's fault or anything. Alright? While this is almost the exact same circumstance that led to Austin Dillon's win in the 500 last year, it was more of a fault of the aero package, I believe, because Jimmy, the spotter was probably telling him, hey, it's starting to start raining again, you might want to try to make a pass on the inside before they throw the red flag and end the race. Jimmy's like, okay, I'm going to try that. Jimmy jumped down, touched Menard, and Menard couldn't do anything. If he was blocking, it was very hard to see. I don't think he was blocking, because I honestly think that the air just messed with the car and pushed him down. Based on what I saw, though, that's what I saw. And spun Menard out. Menard came back up into the field, and only 4 cars came out of it without any major damage at all to the car. And Jimmy ended up winning the race. But here's the thing: Jimmy passed him to the yellow line. So regardless of whether you think everything was Jimmy's fault in this situation or not, yeah, NASCAR, what are you doing? Okay, the yellow line, believe it or not, is one of the more consistently held rules in NASCAR. And that's one of the reasons why it's so unpopular, because there are so many different circumstances where people have jumped to the bottom in order to avoid something or not, using it and they somehow use it to advance position, like Talladega, I think, and this happened with Casey Kane once at Talladega. He was trying to avoid a wreck, ended up advancing position, so they sent him on pit road during the caution. He's like, what the hell, I was trying to avoid the wreck. And, it's like, NASCAR is very stringent on the yellow line rule, and they blew it. Whether it was just because of, they just want to get this done with and go home, they didn't want to do anything else with it, or something else like that, or maybe they just really didn't care and just looked to piss off as many NASCAR fans as they wanted to. I mean, wow. That's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. Kurt Busch should have won that clash. Jimmy clearly went to the bottom as he spun as Menard was spinning in front of him, He clearly went to the bottom and went under the yellow line. So Kurt Busch should have won. What is this? NASCAR, what are you doing? Okay, granted, there's a lot of... And this is also going to hold some things bad in terms of the 2019 package. If all racing is going to be on the 1.5 mile tracks, this is a legitimate question. Are all the races on the 1.5 mile tracks going to be single file on the outside? And granted, with this package that they used in the All-Star race last year, Kevin Harvick managed to gap the field at Charlotte. So, I mean, I'm guessing there are going to be some people, if they have good enough cars, that are going to be able to gap the field on this. But, I mean, what the heck? This does not hold good for the new package. If the new package does not work as intended to get good racing going, which a lot of people are very skeptical of in the first place, I don't know what they're going to do. Because, I mean, you'd have to go back to the previous year's package if you still have any cars left with that package. Because you can't just... It'd be very hard to try to switch packages in between races. Like, unless you're going to, like, plate tracks and stuff, because you already had that stuff ready, because, you know, plate tracks are a thing. But you're making every track a plate track. Alright, but and this is going to be some very major safety concerns, too. Like, I'm surprised that no one got seriously hurt in that wreck, because that was a pretty big wreck, and that was a 20-car pack. I mean, last year, there was like maybe 16 guys still going to end the Clash. Like, it was a pretty wreck-filled Clash, if I remember correctly, from last year. And it ended with a pretty big wreck in nearly the exact same position. Also involving Jimmy Johnson. Only he managed to come out on top this time. And like I'm saying, it's not his fault. It's just a racing deal. But, I mean, this isn't like what Austin did last year. We deliberately wrecked Eric Almirola going into turn 4. Well, going into turn 3 and 4. To end up winning the Daytona 500, which... Gotta say, that move's still pretty fucking slimy, in my opinion. Granted, you want to try to win the Daytona 500. You're driving the 3 car. Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on with you. You'd want to try to win the Daytona 500, but come on. Don't wreck the guy going into the corner. And for Jimmy, that was just a complete accident. That was a complete accident. That was a racing deal. And so, like I said, if this new package doesn't work out when you're going to the 1.5 mile tracks, what is NASCAR going to do? I mean, what is NASCAR going to do? I mean, NASCAR's already in a steep decline. We're losing ratings. The Daytona 500 is, has not been getting good ratings. And I was actually thinking, hey, if the racing's good for the Clash and the duels and the Daytona 500, maybe we can get some of the viewers at the NFL pissed off with their fucking bullshit with that game. But no, I don't think so. What normal, casual person wants to come to see a race where everybody's lined up single file instead of 3 wide going into the first turn? No one, I tell you. No one. And so I'm just fearful for what the beginning of the 2019 season brings with it, and how this new package is going to turn out at the 1.5 mile tracks. And, if it's like the All-Star race, then maybe things will be overblown. But if this Daytona 500, I get it, they're 2 different packages, but still, you're going to put restrictor plates on cars at 1.5 mile tracks, where they can normally go to almost in excess of 200 miles an hour. They're going slower than the Xfinity cars now, apparently. Not only that, there's a lot of safety risk with this. Okay, like having all these cars packed up in packs like this, I mean, sooner or later somebody's gonna get hurt in one of these things. Hopefully no one dies of it. So anyway, yeah, that was just my thoughts on the whole 2019 Daytona Clash. It's, yeah, really interesting development. So, Thank you guys for watching. Don't die.